All right, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever time you see this. Welcome to a new and another episode of The Wrong Side of 30. I am your host, Phil Felix, aka Swimming Bird. We're the originals, and as usual, Justin, as you can see, with his metal straw, bringing a new
I should
shit
do
to the
that.
game. Uh, we
Thank you.
have back Matthew, one of the originals as well. So welcome back, bro. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
We
Appreciate you.
we have welcome back special guest Joe. What's good, Joe?
Yeah, special appearance. You know, special
love
guest.
to love to see
Emphasis
it,
on
and
special guest.
love to hear it. Love to see it. And we have the other original Ibrahim, who is not showing his face, but you see his name, so he's here with us. Absolutely, he's on the call. So, usually I am the person that started with the topic, but we're gonna switch it up a little bit because Justin had a question for us, and I am quite
Oh,
intrigued to know what is this question.
wow. This nigga not even this nigga not even gonna warm us up, man. Like no
I
foreplay.
mean, I'm
Nah,
pretty. No,
see,
I'm pretty sure he did. Oh, you wasn't here when he warmed us up for the question, so
no. So he
I don't
knows
need
the
to warm
question.
up. I just come in
Nah,
shooting. That's what you saying?
yeah, he doesn't know. He knows the question. So this is my question.
okay, copy.
With today's climate,
Wait, we
um,
can't even joke a little bit? Damn.
nah.
Yo, he said
We,
not
we we
today.
joke we joke in the chat. How about that? Joke in the chat. Um, in today's climate, who do you feel as though could personally, or what profession I should say, would do you feel could best affect change? A black politician or a black person within the police academy?
Oh shit. Mm,
We'll
I,
say
I'm a,
maybe
I'm a,
go
A
ahead, go
black
ahead.
polit-
Nah, I'm not gonna say my full answer because I gotta think some more about the wording. But I will say we got some shitty ass black politicians already.
Mm-hmm.
and I will also add to that we already have some black shitty cops.
But better yet, this is my answer. I'll say this. This is
But
my answer.
what do we mean change? Like change within a community,
So
change in society,
I believe
change.
I believe it's change
I
society,
got
but go
you.
ahead.
I got you. We often hear black people who have said that the reason why they joined X particular profession is so that they can affect change from the inside.
Right.
So with that, do you believe that a black politician can in fact affect change more so than a particular black cop or black cops, I should say, because no one officer can do any one job. And with that, I personally believe neither of them can do anything.
I was just gonna ask is
Oh,
that an
that
option?
was I know that was an answer as an option.
I don't
Okay,
think
that
No,
makes
either
because
of
no,
sense.
them
and,
can.
and the reason why I say neither is because one, I believe you have politicians who, as you said, we have some crap ass black politicians, but two, politicians can be corrupted.
Yeah,
Politicians
I was gonna say.
can win and lose their job at any given time, not any given time, but years, elections, dates like that. Police officers often are protected by the shield and often are protecting someone else. So I don't
Right.
believe that unless you have a completely black police task force, that they can be quote unquote that they will be quote unquote able to impact change. So I don't believe like and I believe at some point in time all what the 4 or 5 of us have heard before I took on this job to impact change from the inside. Am I right in that statement?
Right.
You've all
Oh
heard it
yeah,
before.
correct. Yeah, I
So
heard it.
Or
I believe that
anyone want to jump in? Oh,
although someone has said that and someone may have that intention, I believe that that notion that that's possible to me is impossible.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's it.
I think I agree. I think it's neither. I think the biggest emphasis is the idea that I do believe there's a sense of purity when people enter something like the task force or something like that because they want to do change, right? But I think the issue is that each of those positions have to answer to somebody, and that person's beliefs, because they're higher up on the totem pole, directly affects that individual. So let's say you go against the grain and you try to, let's say as a cop, you sell one of your brothers from the shield under because you know that they did something wrong, something corrupt, something that they didn't take on when they pledged to be a cop. You understand? That person automatically is outcasted. That person is blacklisted. Like, that person is no longer part of that brotherhood, because they, in the eyes of the many, it looks like that person didn't hold down their position in making sure that the family, like that badge was safe. Like, what happens here stays here type thing. And I feel like that person gets ousted, and what happens? That person no longer has a job, or it's very hard for them to function. They get shitty detail jobs, like things like that happen. Same thing with political aspects. Like, they come in, but they have people to answer to, whether you're in the presidency or you're one of the chairmen. I believe, like, you still have people to answer to, and their beliefs directly affect what you can and cannot do. And I feel like that's why some of the times people don't get, like, a lot of people, believe it or not, besides Barack Obama being black and getting through that threshold, a lot of people didn't agree with him, and a lot of people had issues with him, whether you were black or white, because they saw past certain things. They didn't like some of his policies. They didn't feel, and he had pressure from other people, and those are things he has to atone for and go through. So I don't think either of them can have one because of the social climate we're in. You know, I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, that was a lot to take in, actually. I agree with but I agree with everything that Matt said. In the other side of that spectrum, so who do you feel, or let me ask this question, who do you feel, what do you feel, what happened?
Wait, before, I thought you and Joe had something to say on it as well. I'm gonna just say this, it ain't gonna be long-winded, but Matt, so let me clarify, or understand rather. Justin, you said who has more of a chance on change, right? Which position has a greater chance?
Yes.
Right. No.
I believe. Yes. No. Hold on. No. I'm saying, like, you personally, to answer that. Right. I believe they both equally do not have a better chance in general. Right. Like, no 51, 49, no 2, 0, under 0.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to. That's what I was trying to clarify. So this is what I'm trying to say, Matt. All right. First off, they're both shitty positions. The difference is, one position you have more power and control over your own actions. The other position, you really have to answer to someone else, right? That's the first thing. Second thing, Matt, you said that for police officers, it's hard for them, right? They come in, they might be pure of heart, but then once they get in, shit like the Blue Shield and shit like the Blue Wall comes in, blah, 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 right? You're absolutely correct. However, I will disagree with you. There is a position out there in which you can outcast yourself and still do the right thing. It's called internal affairs. Now, internal affairs officers are literally the only officers that can go in and literally do what is morally and consciously correct. Not saying they always do, but I'm saying as far as who they got to answer to, they don't have to answer to no police chief. They don't have to be buddies with the other officers, because guess what? Even if you didn't want to get somebody fired, anytime internal affairs come around, people are nervous because they know what the power they have. You don't get that's the only position in the police precinct, in my opinion, where cops get nervous. And anytime a cop gets nervous about IA coming around, that means, to me, not so much the guilt of the police officer, but it shows me that, that position got some fucking weight to it, right? So to answer your question, in my opinion, I'm not saying it happens. In my opinion, a police officer, contingent on the position, black police officer, contingent on the position, can impact more change than a black politician, solely because there are actually positions out there that is geared towards doing the right thing. As an internal affairs officer, your job is to check in to see if there were any misdoings. If there were, you need to sniff it out. That's literally your job.
Just out of curiosity, though, where's internal affairs with all of these murders that have been happening?
And that's what I'm trying to tell you. That he said impact or change, right? Yes, where's the internal affairs in regards to all of these? Guess what? All of these situations aren't decided by internal affairs. Ultimately, it has to go up to a judge. No, I'm dead ass. It has to go up to a judge.
I know you're dead ass.
Even a police chief doesn't get to say, all right, we're going to charge you. They can fire you, which is more internal affairs. So those cops that finally got fired for Eric Gardner, that was probably internal affairs recommendation saying, yo, y'all need to fire this motherfucker. After years. That's an impact from internal affairs. But a charge, that is a criminal situation. That has nothing to do with internal affairs. All they can do is make a recommendation. But as far as the power to prosecute, no.
Yes.
And Justin's question wasn't, can we get a lawmaker, do you think a black lawmaker has more impact? He didn't ask that. He said specifically a politician. Now, if you did ask that, I would say yes. The power ultimately lies in the lawmakers. They can control all of that shit. But that wasn't the question.
Go ahead, Joe.
Go, Joe. Yeah, actually, before Joe goes, how many years it took for... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I agree with Justin. Nobody's in a better position to make change because, neither one of them have, a good supporting cast that would want change. You know what I'm saying? They're all completely comfortable with what's going on and, the status quo. So you got black cops that want to provide a sense of security for black citizens, but none of that shit matters because they're higher ups or their white counterparts or other black cops who don't want to lose their job or not be the black sheep, on the force aren't going to support them in whatever change that they're trying to accomplish, So there's both professions, neither one of them are going to have a good shot at doing any kind of change because the one of them are going to have the support necessary to create the change. You just can't do it by yourself. It's not a one-man band show when it comes to cops wanting to do the right thing. The same thing for politicians.
Agree, 100%.
I will say this in terms of what E said about internal affairs. I don't know the criteria for internal affairs. However, this is just me being me. I've never heard of any one person that say, I want to be part of IAB. I've never heard someone say, I want to be a part of the Internal Affairs Bureau. Never. That's one.
Right. Okay.
So, and granted, I agree with you in terms of they have more of an opportunity to affect change. Now, with that, I think that the downside to IAB is that they are similar, and to me, in my opinion, they are similar to lawyers, prosecutors. They can't go forward with too much without too much evidence. So if they truly don't believe this one person to have done something that was unjust, that quote unquote recommendation that you mentioned wouldn't even get pushed forward to anybody.
Right.
Although the community is just this is wrong. IAB, and again, I don't understand. I don't know the criteria. I don't know the ins and outs of what IAB is, but I don't believe that with IAB, they are intently doing their job. They're intently doing their investigation with the intent to prosecute. I think they're doing their job with the intent to figure out what happened, and with that information, they're making a judgment call.
But I do also have one other question.
Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
I think you.
Oh, okay. Because you said when we were talking about cops and politicians and stuff like that. You went into the idea of internal affairs, but if we're picking like let's say subcategories in that big umbrella of what a cop is, then wouldn't a legislator or something like that be considered, like, because I know you said something about lawmakers, they're considered politicians, so wouldn't they have could be considered? Yeah, because you said basically that's not up to internal affairs. So in my eyes, honestly, internal affairs, that argument is mute for me, because they still have to answer to somebody. If they don't see their view, it still goes back on my point that they can't proceed with change because they still have to answer to somebody. Now, we're talking about lawmakers.
Still need the support. Still need support no matter what. Lawmaker
exactly. That's
you still
exactly.
Need support.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is, we're still at the same point we're in the beginning, that they all feed off of one another, and people have different type of ideologies and they have different type of wants from what's happening. So you can't, if I want to go right and you want to go left, and we're both pushing and we're both pulling, we're not going anywhere. You understand? So does it really matter about the position, whether you're internal affairs? You could be an internal affairs officer and want to do change, but you can't get past the legislator, and they don't have the laws that help you want to do what you want to do.
All right. Now, two things. Wait, Matt, you done? I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah. I'm done.
All right. So two things. I'm going to pivot real quick to Justin, only because I have to do this. Because you never hear anyone say they want to be an IA. You're correct. But you also don't ever hear a kid say, I want to be a fire chief or a police chief. Or you never hear a cop say, hey, a kid say, no, I'm saying just in general specifically, because think about it. When you enter those positions, you're old. Everyone starts out the entry level, right?
Yeah.
So when people look and say, oh, I want to be a cop, they could mean anything with that position, because a detective can be a cop, and they know that. You get what I'm saying? Same thing with a firefighter. I'm sorry. They say I want to be a firefighter, but they could be looking at a rescue person who does something completely different from someone who turns out the fire. There are two different positions, but they're all considered firefighters. So I'm just saying, as far as the interest to want to go into IA, I think that's something you get when you generally just enter the department. But the desire to specifically want to do that comes from the people who say, yo, I want to catch you guys fucking up, right? So for me, that's why I said that position has more of a chance. I'm not saying it's happening, because it's clearly not. But that position has more of a chance than one politician. Now, to Matt's response, when I say lawmakers, I'm talking about the system, because you're right. Politicians are lawmakers, but guess what? Lawmakers, the plural, make the decisions on the impact of change. And that's why I went back and said, Justin wasn't talking about that. He said a black person, as in a black politician, which is one. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you talking about a one-on-one, I'm going to always go with that cop that is, or that IA person that is in that position, right, who sees somebody getting their ass kicked and they step in and say, yo, chill out. Now, guess what? The sad part about it is we don't see that in the news a lot, but I've seen it in my experience. I'm not saying all cops are beautiful and great. No. But I've seen it in my experience where there was a black cop that came in, and it happened at the, I don't want to say where we work out loud, but it happened at that place, and the person was like, yo, I'm not trying to get you caught up. Cool out. Now, is that a great impact of change? No. It's a small local level, but is it an impact? Yes. It's change.
Yeah, it's still impactful.
So in my opinion, it still can happen. Now, lawmakers, yes, I totally agree with you, Matt and Joe, because you said they all need support. At the end of the day, the issue is the system. And I think we already understand that. But given the situation we're in right now with this president, until we get a change in president, I think we need to start looking at the individuals that can give us the little day-to-day impacts that we need to get by.
Okay. So hopefully you're done, Ibrahim. And I'm not going to, I told you, I got like 5 minutes on this topic personally, right? I told you I got 5 minutes personally. This is me.
Yeah.
One, in terms of politicians, I believe that as black politicians, and I'm emphasizing black politicians because I've heard in high school, college, people like, I want to be, governor, senator. I want to work for New York City. I want to be a representative of Brooklyn, representative of Bronx, representative of Harlem, Manhattan. I've heard of some numerous people at different times in my personal life. So specifically black politicians. I personally believe that they cannot make change because one, you need the votes. You need people support, as already alluded to, support from everybody else to agree with the one point or multiple point that you have that you may deem right for this population of people or population of issues. And I don't believe that you will ever get that from a police officer and that umbrella. I don't believe that one person could ever, quote unquote, impact change on a scale that is change, I should say. And I want to say change, I mean generational change. Not like it affected one person. One person at one particular place and one particular block knew that one particular officer at one particular, no. I'm talking about generational change. No one police department, no one police chief, I don't believe no one police officer, no one police unit, no one police task force. I don't believe any one police task force can do that because of the fact that they all report to each other. They go out every day with the mindset of, I got to make sure my brother, my sister, person I'm riding with every day is good before I make sure y'all are good. And I think that's the issue because every day, the reason they took that oath is because they are to, quote unquote, protect and serve. They are civil servants. But what we've seen is these quote unquote civil servants and also politicians have acted on self.
Right.
The definition of a servant is you serve the community, you serve your community, you serve your people, you serve your demographic, you serve the district, whomever, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And no one's actually serving on both of those fronts. They claim they are, but they really aren't. Everyone has an agenda. And I think that's the biggest issue. And I hear you, and I'm all about being optimistic. That's why when I told you I had this question, it's because of the fact that I truly believe that if I met a teen, if I had a kid, if I knew of someone who was like, y'all want to be a cop because I want to affect change, they'd be like, for what? I'm trying to crush your dream. Or I want to be a politician. They'd be like, for what? I'm not trying to crush nobody's dream. I'd be like, do you see what's going on? Like, you can't, not saying you can't. It's just like you are not capable of being the only one doing this.
Right.
So the narrative is, the narrative, and I liken that narrative to, quote unquote, the American dream is the house and the white picket fence and the family. That dream is dead. That dream of I can be a part of politics, I can be a police officer and affect it and positively affect change is dead because you will never have the support, the generational support to actually impact change. And I say that because I think that change, quote unquote change, we allow that to be, we believe that change has to come from someone in power, quote unquote power, which is relative. I personally believe that power comes from the community. That power comes from the demographic. That power comes from the generation. Those 18 to 25, 25 to 35, that's where the power actually lies. You can actually see something change, see an actual shift in everything.
I agree. And I think, I agree. And I think we're both saying that in the sense, like in the same way. Same thing, different way. You're just saying the community, can do it. And I'm saying the same thing. I'm just thinking more of specifics like, all right, the lawmakers, the bodies, right? And ultimately the community, whether it be your neighborhood or your city or your state or your country, selects those people that get to make those laws. So I totally agree. But as far as your question specifically, my viewpoint is the way it is because I like to look at the positions as well. I ain't got